Okay, here's the secret. Company's proprietary information. Here's how we build a great business, why we have such low churn and customers like us. One is we deliver on time, okay? I know that, but since we've been in business since 2000, we've never missed a delivery date. You'd be surprised how valuable that is to large businesses and carriers. Second, our network works. It's reliable. It's a fiber optic network, it's ring, we have protected sides, protected circuits, dual entry into buildings, depending what the customer wants, but it works. We've had customers with us since 2000 that have never experienced an outage. They seem to like that. If and when we have a problem, now the last secret I'm going to let out today is when they do have a problem and we have alarms going off or whatever, we actually call the customer up and tell them what the problem is, what we're doing, and what's going on, instead of leaving them in the dark.
These are definitely unique things in all three in the telecom space.
It is in the sense that we're actually doing it. I get back to my example when I first started, and I looked at the who's building fiber where. Websites all say it. We're building it everywhere. The salesmen all say it. The brochures all say it. But nobody's was actually doing it. We're actually focused where we are, and that's actually what we do. And you will be surprised, those three things, how they've led into us, our growth. Right now, our biggest problem in our business is CapEx. We have such demand right now that we sell transport, OC, Ethernet, pick your flavor, waves, obviously last mile access, and internet access. That's it. Basic meat and potatoes, connectivity. It's what everybody wants. And the emotional tie with us is that it works. And typically we'll get customers that come to us new because they had an emotional tie with something that didn't work. But then sometimes we have a problem with the new customers because they have an emotional tie with their money and they don't want to spend it at the price we're offering it for this reliability. But as we soon remind them that the emotional tie with their customers, that give them money, and if their network doesn't work, that's much worse than paying for a network that does work.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, we're all one just emotional happily family. That's how we've built a business here. We don't see a need right now to move any applications. The reason for that is, like I said, just so 94% of buildings don't have fiber into them.
Sure.
So
that's the goal, basically.
Yeah,
is that 94%.
We never grew the business for revenue, for the sake of revenue. It was we're going to grow a profitable business.
Sure.
Our average ARPU is $6,000. Our going in gross margins are 70%, sometimes 80%. Add-on business is 90% gross margins. Meat and potatoes, what everybody needs, connectivity. And then of course, applications that ride on our networks from other third parties, they don't get the black eye because our network's reliable. And they're willing to pay, the carriers in this case, are willing to pay our slight little premium in the marketplace for what we offer because, quite simply, it works. And what they're buying from us at the end of the day is peace of mind. That's what they get. They know it works. If something happens, we call them. It's as simple as that, but that's our growth story. And we see a lot more of it coming this year. As I mentioned, our biggest problem right now is CapEx. We're seeing such heightened demand right now, especially around the wireless data growth. The demand to build the towers, and of course, just the core backbone demand is going up.
So that's where the traffic growth is. And
Yeah.
video too? Are you seeing a lot of
video?
video?
Video's underneath a lot of it that's driving it. But it's a good story. I mean, we were contrarian back in the early days. I had some of the best people on Wall Street told me that I didn't know what I was doing and we were going to fail. Now, to be honest with you, in all fairness, I'm a little bit of a loaded gun when I went to start this company. Back in 1994, I was the president of Frontier Communications. And we were the first company in the country that created, it wasn't even called a CLEP back then, but we created one. And back then I was one of the few people, there's maybe two others, that had the opportunity to look at what open market competition is going to be like, what the books look like, what the financials look like, and all that. And one of my takeaways amongst several was that in the long run, if you don't own your own fiber optic infrastructure and run over it or become vertically integrated into someone else's quite tightly, you're going to have a very difficult time competing for market share or even competitively, you'll just be competing on price. It's a one-dimensional thing, price, and it's a deadly thing. But I saw that in spades, and that's why the company I built the way it is. Our current customers are extremely happy with us, and we're constantly being asked by them to offer applications because they've gotten used to the reliability and all that, and they keep telling us, why don't you offer a voice product? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And it's not that we're against it, but we're going to stay to our knitting and do it well. Now we're entertaining and working with some VoIP providers right now, how we can embed them more into the stream of our backbone so they get the reliability and the other things they can do that other VoIP providers, they just ride over the pipe can't do.
That's great. So if you want to leave the viewers with one thought on maybe where you're headed and why they should work with you, what would you say?
Well, I think just overall for the industry, things aren't going to happen as fast as we think. I think we have a history of that. And as we're heading into this global economy, it's going to need optical connectivity. And I think in the near term, where we should be focused is on connectivity and reliability. Then worry about how you're going to make money with applications.
And the company's private, right? Or is it public?
Privately held.
It's private. Any plans or that you can discuss?
We've had several unsolicited offers to buy the company. That's pretty much up to my board of venture capitalists, which could be a whole different interview. Very entertaining, by the way. Very educational, but not today. But that's going to pretty much fall in their venue because, you know, I gave up over 50% a couple of years back when the meltdown. I mean, we kept growing through the meltdown. Actually, we raised prices every year. But it just showed you because it's the network we built, had a unique footprint, and we knew, we didn't gouge, but we knew we can get a premium because the only other alternative was Ma Bell.
Sure. Yeah. So you priced under Ma Bell basically, but at the same time you are providing reliable service.
Yeah, I think if you go back, and my favorite analogy used to be was Yipes #1. They were the first Yipes that went into bankruptcy. The new Yipes is totally different. But I can remember sitting at meetings just like this, and the CEO would go and put these charts, and they show the ILEX pricing up here, and they show Yipes down here, and there's like this 60-point gap sitting there between them, and they're going, we're going for market share, we're going for market share. And I'm thinking like, why? I mean, why are you leaving cash on the table? Well, we all know how the story turned out. You know, it's chapter 11. This is how it turned out. And they had an opportunity at the time to compete underneath them, and then add value to it and go forward. But that just wasn't the strategy.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Well, thanks, Dave. You've been listening to Dave Rusin, who is with American Fiber Systems. He is the president and CEO. His website is AmericanFiberSystems.com. My name is Rich Tehrani. I'm the president of TMC, and if you're interested in more information on me, check out TMCnet.com or my blog at Tehrani.com. Once again, we're at the VPF Summer 2008. Thanks for watching.